Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. Muhammad Nazim with the 31st lecture. I think you remember that it's a continuous process of talking about the preparation for effective business writing. अगर आपको याद हो, मैंने पिछले लेक्चर में ये कहा था कि मैं एक important phase effective writing का ख़त्म कर रहा हूँ, and in my next lecture I will be talking to you about writing itself. And I hope you remember, I hope that you have gone through my past lectures before coming for this lecture today, that I focused on a couple of things. And those things are, because I would like to recap quickly, मैं final stages पे जाना चाहता हूँ, bringing you down to actually writing business. मैंने कहा था प्लानिंग और ऑर्गेनाइजिंग फेज के अंदर जो 6 डिफरेंट स्टेप्स है उसको आपने बड़े रिगरसली फॉलो करने. I don't want to go into the details of those, but keep in mind that today when I talk to you on the drafting stage, I believe that you remember those, especially in my last lecture, जिसके ऊपर मैं आज अपना लेक्चर बेस कर रहा हूं. That is outlining the topics and putting them into the right order. आज का lecture would be a futile lecture अगर आपको topical outline का lecture याद नहीं और आपको you do not remember the points where I said that you need to keep in mind the sequence, the order of the subtopics and the topics which you have placed in the outline. अगर आपको वो चीजें याद हैं तो आज का मेरा लेक्चर फ्रूटफुल होगा. अगर नहीं, I'm sorry, you'll be missing something. But let me quickly, because I do not want to disappoint you. Just like a businessman, business writing, you never give a bad message, a disappointing message. Quickly, couple of words. Drafting से पहले you have already laid down the main topics and you have broken down those main topics with the subtopics. आपको पता है कि मैंने good news letter तैयार करना है, उसमें main idea पहले देना है, and then explanation, 1 or 2 couple of paragraphs explaining on what the good news is. Why that you want to be replaced by a photocopy. If you remember, I gave you this example. In indirect approach, you start with a buffer, no negative news, giving a reason that because of the reason that we believe कि आपके लिए, this is in your benefit, we do not want to raise the limit of your credit and that's why we're doing it. I'm just giving you hints. तो आज का जो मेरा लेक्चर है would be based on these topical outlines and the sequence which you have already developed. आइए हम preparation of business effective letters के final देखिए कि कौन कौन से different phases थे. We have now covered the planning stage, we have covered the organizing stage, and now moving to the drafting stage. 2 important steps, very effective for any business writing, and that is the opening paragraph and the ending paragraph or the closing paragraph. इन दोनों के ऊपर आपका major focus होगा. Beginning in the sense that you want your reader to be receptive to the good news, and if in case it's a disappointing news, you do not want to disappoint you do not want to irritate your reader. लिहाजा great emphasis on how you open it, and that is why आज मैं, when I'm talking about developing the opening paragraphs, I'll be giving you particular examples of opening up a good news paragraph, good for bad news paragraph. Straight away going to the slide where I have put a an example. And that is where I am suggesting to you how to improve the effectiveness of your opening paragraph. For writing a good, effective opening paragraph, you must make sure that the beginning is appropriate for the reader. When I say it has to be appropriate for the reader, I mean it is appropriate in terms of giving the message. What is that your reader wants? Your attitude. अगर उस good news है, तो you have to, if likewise, give main point, your main message first. If it is negative, then neutral opening. So make sure the opening is appropriate. You do not want to change the mood of your reader. Second point, make sure the beginning is appropriate for the situation. Situation क्या demand करती है? As I said, in good news, main idea first. Situation says, give the main idea first. If it's a disappointing, indirect. Put the buffer first. And in case, if you want to write a persuasive message, then you have to begin with information that will catch the reader's attention. आपने अपने first paragraph में, you have to set the mood of the reader. Remember, your opening paragraph is so important because you would actually be setting the tone, creating the situation for the reader to respond in a positive or a negative way. Of course, when you are giving a good news, when you're sharing a happy message, your audience, your reader would be happy. But when you are sharing or when you are giving a disappointing news, that could irritate the reader. So therefore, आपने जैसे बफर इस्तेमाल किया है, or you have tried to justify by not actually agreeing to his or her request, you set a tone, you set a frame of reference in your reader who would agree, yes, I think I have been asking for more than what is required. And then once that mood is set, the reader will read your message further and the relationship will be established. That's why आपका beginning paragraph जो है वो बहुत important है और इसके लिए आपको ज़्यादा attention pay करनी पड़ेगी. Now the third important suggestion for the opening paragraph is that you must avoid the inclusion of negative information or discourteous wordings by emphasizing what can be done rather than what cannot be done. I'm going to give you a couple of examples और आज के मेरे lectures में बहुत सारी examples होंगे because I believe writing, effective writing is more about actually going through the exercise of writing or reading good messages. It's less of theory, more of practice. So I'll be showing to you on the slides number of examples, but keep in mind that these examples should act as a guideline. तो इस वक्त जिस बात पे मैं फोकस कर रहा हूँ ये कि negative words आपने इस्तेमाल नहीं करने. Even if when the message is disappointing, somehow जैसे आपको you remember in my last lecture when not agreeing to the raising of the credit limit, I did not use any negative word. So आपने especially in your beginning opening paragraph, you must avoid using any negative or discourteous words because that is going to upset your reader and then he or she would perhaps not like to maintain the business relationship, which is very important for you. Now the fourth point, use a you viewpoint rather than I viewpoint in the opening. Instead of saying, we are very pleased to announce that we have extended your credit limit. We are happy to announce, or it is that because our company needs that we are offering this. You attitude has to be focused on rather than what is beneficial for you. Of course, when you are emphasizing on you in a way, keep in mind that once the customer establish a relationship, the business relationship, it benefits you, but it should be an implied one rather than saying that we have done that. So you attitude constantly आपके मैसेज में फोकस होना चाहिए. Fifth point, use a fast start beginning rather than a slow beginning in which you provide information that is obvious to the reader. Keep in mind, and I'm going to today give you some very good examples of fast opening and slow opening. Once you make a fast opening, then the reader knows exactly what he or she wants. And then further details, the reader will read it. Otherwise, any slow starting message, you will be hiding your main message. और जैसे कि मैंने आपको elements बताया था कि emphasis जिस point पे है should be put first. And that's why I'll be showing you some fast opening examples. And this is an important element which you have to keep in your beginning paragraph, in your opening paragraph, that it should be a fast opening paragraph. Sixth, keep the beginning paragraph fairly short. Okay, this is where you give your main point. This is where you give what is desired by the reader. So you can explain it later on, but in the opening paragraph, it should be short, concise, to the point. And last, make sure the beginning paragraph possesses unity and coherence. Of course, if in the beginning paragraph you somehow lose the cohesiveness, because आपके जितने following paragraphs हैं वो explanatory paragraphs होंगे. अगर आपने अपने मेन पैराग्राफ में जो मेन मैसेज है वो नहीं दिया तो कंटिन्यूटी नहीं रहेगी. लिहाजा इसके अंदर मेन पैराग्राफ के अंदर आपने वो एलिमेंट्स कवर करने हैं जो कि आपके फॉलोइंग पैराग्राफ्स में आपने जिनको पे डायलेट करना है. ये 7 गाइडलाइंस जो मैंने आपको दी हैं, कीप इन माइंड दैट दीज गाइडलाइंस cover all the elements, or more or less most of the elements जो कि मैंने आपको effective writing के लिए आपको बताई थी. Concise, clear, courteous. If you employ those elements, if you remember those elements, and if you put them into practice in the beginning paragraph, you will find them very effective. आइए मैं आपको take you straight away to the examples and look at the slide. यहां मैं आपको एक डायरेक्ट रिक्वेस्ट लेटर की एग्जाम्पल आपको दिखा रहा हूं. इसमें आप ये देखिए कि मेन आइडिया और गुड न्यूज पहले आपके सामने आ रही है. इस पैराग्राफ को पढ़ें. I am a student of XYZ business school, मैंने नाम नहीं बताया, and I am currently enrolled in MBA program. One of the projects in the class is to make an in-depth financial analysis of some of the leading companies in Pakistan. ये ओपनिंग पैराग्राफ है एक लेटर का जो कि एक स्टूडेंट एक कंपनी को लिखा है. देख के बताइए कि क्या ये जो पैराग्राफ है ये एप्रोप्रिएट ओपनिंग है, क्या इसके अंदर मेन आइडिया जिसके ऊपर वो फोकस करना चाहता है वो उसने पॉइंट्स उसके अंदर फेयरली एलैबोरेट कर दिए. अगर मैं आपसे ये कहूं कि उसने कहा है कि he wants to make an in-depth analysis because it's a part of the MBA program and he has chosen the company to whom he is writing, is the message complete? No. In fact, the main idea was to request an annual report of the related company. which he has not presented in the beginning paragraph. अपने beginning paragraph में वो ये कह रहा है कि मैं MBA का student हूं और ये मुझे, this is my exercise which I'm going to do, and then later on, this is an inappropriate beginning. अब appropriate beginning क्या होगी? How he should have written the paragraph? Slide पे देखिए. Would you please send me an annual report for use in making a financial analysis of your company? Making a thorough analysis of the financial condition of your company is one of the requirements for the MBA program I'm enrolled in XYZ Business School. Look here, viewers, compare the two paragraphs. Second paragraph के अंदर right to the point, main point के main message उस student ने डाल दी. So because the business people are very busy. This company organization में जिसको वो letter लिख रहा है might not have the time to read whole of it. But now the very first paragraph says annual report, okay, fine, good. But first paragraph में he has missed the main point. Remember, in direct request letters में आपने direct approach जब करनी है तो आपने पहले beginning opening paragraph के अंदर whatever you want must be written very clearly. So very good example here to show you that when you start writing a direct request letter, don't try to consume your time and waste the time of the reader. Appropriateness demands straight away first few lines give the main message. आइए एक दूसरी एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको दिखाऊं. This is a disappointing newsletter. Now read it. We are sorry to inform you that we are unable to open a charge account at XYZ store. Unfortunately, you have too many liabilities in relation to your assets to qualify for a charge account. अब मुझे ये बताइए कि ये अगर लेटर आपको आए, what would be your reaction? You'll be irritated. As a matter of fact, you can ask me that this is a straight to the point answer. The fact is that credit account cannot be opened, so they have given. But remember in my outlines, I told you, disappointing newsletters may, no, you have to use a buffer. You don't straight away give the negative message. That's why this beginning is inappropriate. मैं आपको appropriate beginning इसी मैसेज की दिखाता हूं. स्क्रीन पे देखिए. You will be pleased to learn that the credit references you listed on your credit application commented favorably on your bill paying record. Several were also impressed with your promptness that has enabled you on numerous occasions to avoid interest charges. देखिए, इस disappointing newsletter में frame of mind, a positive frame of mind रीडर का क्रिएट किए कि भाई हमें जो आपके रेफरेंसेस जो आपने कोट किए थे उनसे जो फीडबैक मिली है, अ वेरी गुड फीडबैक. बट आगे चलकर आपने जैसे मेरी पिछले लेक्चर में एग्जांपल थी, नाउ मेंशनिंग अ बफर हियर, यू विल एक्सप्लेन व्हाई डू यू नॉट वांट योर क्लाइंट कि आप क्रेडिट लिमिट अभी बढ़वाओ. अभी नहीं, नाउ इज नॉट द टाइम बिकॉज इट्स नॉट गुड फॉर यू. It's not a question. Although, inwardly, you understand that it is not according to the company's policy, but you don't mention it. Mind it, आपने कभी भी अपनी कंपनी की पॉलिसीज के पीछे अपने आप को hedge नहीं करना. You don't take shelter behind that this is our company's policy, that's why we cannot do it. Never do that. Because that's where you spoil the image of your company. Whether it's you refusing or your company refusing, don't do that. But there are better ways of saying no. जैसे कि इस एग्जाम्पल में आपने देखा. आइए मैं आपको एक तीसरी एग्जाम्पल दिखाता हूं. पर्सुएसिव मैसेज में आपने ओपनिंग कैसे करनी. स्क्रीन पे देखिए. We are soliciting volunteers to donate an hour or two of their time each month to work at the information desk in the National Museum. We hope you will consider volunteering. यहाँ नेशनल म्यूजियम वालों ने एक लेटर लिखा है inviting volunteers for their museum. And in this letter, what do you feel? How is the beginning? This is a persuasive letter. Persuade करना है. But in fact, in this paragraph, there is nothing which enhances the interest of the reader. रीडर के इंटरेस्ट के बारे में कोई बात नहीं की, रादर अपनी बात की है कि हमें जरूरत है, लिहाजा we are looking for volunteers. Keep in mind, sometimes when you are working in an organization, you would be wanting people to work for your organization. If you write letters like that your company needs and you want them, exactly, people will not be motivated. आइए इसकी एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं कि how can this persuasive opening can be appropriately constructed which will enhance the interest of the people who would like to come and work there. स्क्रीन पे देखिए. What could be more exciting than helping direct visitors at the National Museum to the location of the work of their favorite artist? You can share the excitement of your visitors by volunteering to work at the information desk in National Museum an hour or two each month. इस पैराग्राफ के अंदर राइटर ने रीडर का इंटरेस्ट बढ़ाया है. That you are interested, you have got some artists whom you admire. So won't you like कि आप हमारे म्यूजियम में कुछ देर काम करें voluntarily, और जो विजिटर्स आए उनको अपने जो आपके आर्टिस्ट, फेवरेट आर्टिस्ट हैं, उनको ले जाकर उनके वर्क्स दिखाएं. Look at the approach. Some of the readers who really love art, certain painters, certain sculptors would say, oh yes, I would like to promote my artist. So that's how a good beginning can attract readers for serving your purpose as well as in a way benefiting the reader as well. So this is how a good beginning can really make a difference. मैंने आपको कहा था कि मैसेजेस में बिगिनिंग और एंडिंग इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज बिगिनिंग में आपने टोन सेट की है और एंडिंग में यू लीव अ मैसेज. आइए अब हम देखें कि कैसे आप कर्टियस एंडिंग करेंगे. हाउ कैन यू लीव अ गुड इंप्रेशन on your reader. Keep in mind that ending paragraph has got two purposes to serve. One, it concentrates on the action you desire the reader to take. And second, you show courtesy towards the reader. When I say that composing your closing paragraph, you have to keep these two things in mind. Kyunki you must remember, when I was talking to you about retention time, मैंने कहा कि हमारी retention ability बहुत कम है. हमें जो बात बाद में सुनी होती है वो हम retain करते हैं. Exactly the same way, if you're reading something, तो last paragraphs के wording, sentences, message retain करते हैं. It's a human mind. Exactly when you are composing your closing messages, you would like that you put in information, action, or whatever you want your reader to do, that wo, when stops reading, retains the message. He or she knows what action has to be done. And secondly, has to be courteous, something which maintains that friendly, cordial relationship. Let's go and see some examples about the good endings, ending, closing paragraphs. कैसे हम उनको अच्छी तरीके से कंपोज कर सकते हैं. क्लोजिंग पैराग्राफ्स को कंपोज करने के लिए पेशतर इसके कि मैं आपको एग्जाम्पल्स दिखाऊं, लेट मी गिव यू द गाइडलाइंस. जिस तरह से मैंने ओपनिंग paragraphs guidelines दी थी, you must follow the guidelines of the closing paragraph as well. And if you remember them, if you practice them, you will be able to bring effectivity into your closing paragraph. सबसे पहले, state the desired action clearly and completely. What do you want? Remember मैंने आपको 5 W's बताए थे. What do you want your reader to do? So this one W should be answered in your closing paragraph. आप precisely what do you want your reader to do? मेरी जो आगे examples आएंगे, आप इन 5 W's को ज़हन में रखिएगा. उसके अंदर you will find answers. Exactly. Reader ने क्या action लेना है. Second guideline, state who is to perform the desired action if the action is to be performed by someone other than the reader. In case if you want the reader to get the action done or the work done by somebody else, then that should be clearly mentioned. Who? Second W is important. Third, state how the action is to be performed. क्या करना है? रीडर ने कुछ चीज साइन करके भेजनी है, टेलीफोन करना है, खुद आना है, मर्चेंडाइज को रिटर्न करना है, वगैरह वगैरह. बट दैट थर्ड W must be answered. इसका जवाब भी क्लोजिंग पैराग्राफ में होना चाहिए. फोर्थ, state when the action is to be performed if appropriate. कब? If you are asking somebody to come and visit you, कब आए, कब फोन करे, कब चीज भेजे, when are you going to return, this should be answered as well. Fifth, make the action easy to be performed. आपने अपने रीडर के लिए चीजें आसान करनी. You don't have to complicate. You don't write a letter, send a message and say, please write to somebody else for this information. No. Perhaps you might have to provide some extra information yourself. That's important too. You have to make things easy for your reader. Sixth, include reader benefit material if possible. आप कुछ extra material उसके अंदर डाल सकते हैं to sort of persuade, to increase the interest, to make more purchasing, to make have more business relationship. That's where in the closing you can add some more things for the benefit of the reader. 7, show appreciation to the reader if appropriate. And remember, until the reader does something for you, thanking him or her is inappropriate. This is a fault which we often commit. ये हम गलती अक्सर करते हैं और ये हमारे पुराने लेटर्स का राइटिंग स्टाइल था. Thanking you in anticipation. Don't do that. In the modern writings, आजकल के जैसे राइटिंग्स डेवलप हुई हैं, we do not do that. You do not have to thank in anticipation, in advance. If at all you want to be courteous, you can later on send a thank you letter, but don't thank in advance. So what I mean by this guideline is that you have to be courteous, but courtesy doesn't mean thanking in advance. 8th, avoid the inclusion of negative information in the ending. आपने अपने ending paragraph के अंदर कोई negative चीज नहीं लिखनी, because otherwise your reader is going to carry a negative impression. आखिर के अंदर, if you may have written something very good in the beginning, but in the end you write something which irritates, that would be a very bad ending. So avoid that. And 9th point, offer to be of assistance only if appropriate. Without any reason, don't mention that you can assist your reader for anything else for which you do not have the time, or you can't. Because once you offer yourself for something, and which if you do not do, then you are going to spoil the relationship. This rule, I think, should be applied in your everyday life too. आप किसी की हेल्प के लिए उतनी लिमिट तक जाएं जहां आप कर सकते हैं. And likewise, in your writing, if you unnecessarily invite somebody for assistance and you don't do it, that's very dangerous. 10th guideline: keep the ending paragraph as short as circumstances will allow. That means you really have to be concise, to the point. ये तो ओवरऑल मैंने आपको बिजनेस राइटिंग में बताया कि people in business do not have time, as you must have noticed. You in your daily life do not have the time. आपके पास इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लो करे, इतना रिटन मटेरियल आता है. देखिए आप कितनी बार जो लेटर आपको, जो पब्लिसिटी मटेरियल, जो हैंडआउट्स आते हैं, do you really have the time to go through each and every one, word by word, sentence by sentence? No. So therefore, if you really want your message to be effective, it must be concise. This is very important. आइए मैं आपको one by one I'm going to show you examples, और जिसके अंदर ये सारी गाइडलाइंस जो भी मैंने आपको बताई हैं would apply. See the examples carefully, and I would like you to start practicing the application of these guidelines so that you could learn how to make a good beginning and a good ending too. Screen पे देखिए. पहली example, say, please let us hear from you. You are ending with this note. Please let us hear from you. This sentence fails to specify clearly and completely what is the action you are expecting from your reader. अगर मैं इसको change करूं और इसको convert करूं, look, how would I make it an impressive ending? Just as soon as you sign and return the enclosed authorization card to us, we will be able to make the requested modifications to your insurance plan. देखिए, instead of saying, please let us hear from you, मैंने 5 W's की application इसके अंदर की है. कैसे? This paragraph is very effective because it tells when, as soon as, who, you sign, what, the enclosed authorization. इसके अंदर how apply नहीं, you can say by mail or send it through your through post, whatever you want. And then why? Because we want to make the requested modifications to your insurance plan. This is a complete closing. You understand? Apply the 5 W's wherever possible. Let's look at the other example. Upon receipt of the enclosed form, we'll be able to add, somebody say, Mrs. Murad's name to your saving account. Now, somebody has written a letter with this closing remarks requesting that इनका नाम भी account पे डाल दें ताकि they could as well operate the saving account. Do you think it's a complete and good closing? इसके अंदर क्या action oriented message इसके अंदर है? It is not. आइए देखिए इसको मैं कैसे effectively reconstruct करता हूं. Please have Mrs. Murad sign the line marked with a red X on the signature card. As soon as we receive the card, she will be entitled to use this saving account. अब इस पैराग्राफ में clearly identify किया है who is to do what. Mrs. Murad is who? She has to sign on the dotted line where? Why? So that we could add her onto the account. So ये second message, second paragraph, जो closing paragraph है, this is a reader benefit message दे रहा है rather than the first one जो कि action oriented नहीं. अगली एग्जाम्पल देखिए. Let me know when you would like to come for an interview. अब I have sent this message to somebody and asked that person that instead of me providing the information, I am asking that person to let me know when he or she wants to come. This is an inappropriate closing. You will be having lots of opportunities where you would be asking people to come and meet you, visit you in the office for business purpose, etc., etc. And you might make a mistake of making such an ending note in a message written that you let me know when you want to come. Wrong closing. आइए इसको मैं convert करता हूँ in a more appropriate message. Please call me at whatever number you want to write early next week to let me know a convenient time for you to come for an interview. So ये paragraph, which is a closing paragraph, identifies where, when and why. And even आप कैसे फोन करेंगे मैंने नंबर दे दिए. Remember, you have given complete information. Give you another example. We regret, and this is a negative example, we regret that we do not have the information you requested. It's a negative message. Ab, how am I going to convert it so that my reader is not irritated? I want to bring my reader into a good frame of mind. Look at the screen. Best wishes for the successful completion of your project. Your effort to obtain actual material for inclusion in your project is commendable. देखिए, ये रिफ्यूजल लेटर था. शुरू में बफर थी, स्टेटमेंट थी, उसके बाद एक्सप्लेनेशन थी. क्लोजिंग लेटर में you need not put the negative message. It is not required. You should not repeat in the closing paragraph what you have already put in the explanation part. Remember, मैंने आपको लास्ट लेक्चर में नेगेटिव मैसेज में बताया था कि you have to embed, you have to put in the negative information in such a way that you do not use negative words. And you start with a buffer, and that's why the ending, the closing paragraph should be a happy one and not putting any negative information into it. Having done that, having come to a successful beginning and closing, what is left now is the main body. आपने अपना main message, because you know it already, I told you in the speech writing as well, that there are three parts: the beginning, the body, and the closing. So now we are coming to the main body, how to compose that. Now when you start developing the main idea, it's going to be in the middle. आपने opening paragraph के बारे में सोच लिया है, ending आपने सोच लिया है, तो main body, main paragraph is going to be tailored according to the scope of the main points which you have already, or main idea which you have put in the opening. And that would depend आपने कितनी length और कितनी detail में जाना है. So you have to set that limit. आपने वो scope of detail or information which you want to provide, that will determine that how much you are going to write in the main body of your message. इसको determine करने के लिए, इस composition of the main, you have to exactly know that आपका message कितना lengthy है. Whether are you going to put your whole message on one page, or you are going to write a long report of 10 pages. Let's see what is desired and how are you going to do it. When I say that you have to adjust your message to fit the time and space, you have in mind one page. और अगर आप समझते कि नहीं ये आप 1 पेज में नहीं कर सकते, then you have to redefine your idea, because आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट है कि आपने 1 पेज में करना है, and you cannot then redefine your idea. For that matter, what you can do is you can stick to some major points, say 2, 3 or 4 or maximum 5. But if you include more points into the main body, explaining why has the photocopier broken down, what were the causes, etc., which you remember I explained to you in my last lecture, I just limited to one major reason. And then I went on explaining about the warranty. I could have dealt that subject and given explanation in 4, 5 paragraphs, which I didn't. So therefore, I completely I fixed myself that I'm going to only talk in 1 paragraph. अगर आप जब मैसेज कंपोज करने लगे हैं and you are focusing on your main body and your message is one page only, keep in mind that you're going to write 1 paragraph for the opening, 1 paragraph for the ending, and 1 paragraph for or 1 or 2 for each point or topics or subtopics which you are going to include in that 1 page message. If your message is long, if you're going to write 20 pages, you can develop your main points, let's say, to 10 paragraphs, which would amount to about 3 pages, double spaced. And you can dilate on each key point, and yet you would have space for the introduction and your conclusion. So actually you can dilate, you can spread your body composition depending on how much space is available, how much detail you want to go into. आइए अब हम 4th stage पे चलें, and that is the editing stage. Ideally, you should put aside several hours before you start editing your message. अगर आप फौरन composition के बाद, लिखने के बाद editing पे जाएंगे, unless you are stressed by time and you have to submit a report quickly, then you got no choice. Otherwise, best is just sleep over it for a couple of hours, cool down and refresh yourself, and come again and start editing. आप editing के अंदर, there are few things which you should be keeping in mind. You must evaluate for compliance with certain principles of effective communication. And these are, I'm going to enumerate. Look at the slide. First, is the information in your message correct? आपने editing के वक्त, keep in mind that whatever you are giving, whatever information you are sending to your reader, is it correct or not? Second, is the information relevant to your audience? Remember in the beginning I said, you need to know what is relevant to your reader. You don't want your message to end up in the dustbin. So therefore it has to be relevant. Third point, have you provided enough information to satisfy your reader's needs? That is where you have to see while editing. Have you covered all your points in the most logical order? This is important. आपने जो sequence जो बनाया है वो logically आपके thoughts, आपके topics develop हुए कि नहीं? Because now the final message is in front of you, you have to see कि logically development हुई कि नहीं. Do the most important ideas receive the most space and are they placed in the most prominent position? कहीं priority में तो नहीं फर्क आ गया? जिस पे आप एम्फेसिस ले करना चाहते थे उसके ऊपर एम्फेसिस आपने ले किया है कि नहीं. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दैट इज व्हाट यू हैव टू लुक इन फॉर ड्यूरिंग द एडिटिंग पार्ट. वुड द मैसेज बी मोर कन्विंसिंग if it were arranged in another sequence? You have to look at that. अगर आप इसको alter करना चाहते हैं या चाहेंगे तो it could be more effective. That's where you have to look in for. Next point, do you repeat yourself? आपने कोई information repeat तो नहीं की? Like I said, आपने closing में फिर वही negative message दे दिया है which you had already put in the body. अगर ऐसी है तो ऐसी बात है तो rectify करें. Are details scattered that need to be grouped together? Next point, have you answered all the questions asked by the reader? कोई चीज omit तो नहीं की? Because I told you in the beginning, omission means that you are deliberately not providing information. It is better to say sorry rather than not to answer any question. So that's very important too. Last, have you provided additional information which your reader will appreciate having? ये सारे points while you are editing you must keep in mind. This is what will ultimately give strength और आपके मैसेज को वो completeness देंगे. आइए फाइनल फेज के ऊपर आपको now that you have done completely आप सारे फेजेस से गुजर आए. आखिरी फेज, आखिरी स्टेज, very important. And that is proofreading. Remember, अगर writer errors ढूंढने से कासिर हो गए, somehow you have failed to find errors, and the reader has found that you have put in some wrong information, wrong figures, it is going to cost you a lot. It is going to cost your organization a lot. And that's why it is important. You must proofread your message, no matter whether you have written it or somebody else has written it. But if you are signing that message, it's your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the typist or the one who has drafted it. So, as you proofread, you should be looking for a couple of things. And I'm going to point one by one. Look at the screen. First, accuracy of dates, figures, amounts, numbers, and so on and so forth. While you are going through the proofreading exercise, you must look for misspelled words. आपके document में spelling mistakes can cause you a lot. I don't need really emphasizing again and again, but since it is important कि मैं ये इस stage पे भी आपको बता दूं so that you could write down, and while you are putting the notes के proofreading में ये भी काम करना, ये भी काम करना, ये भी, it is important to look for misspelled words. Spelling mistakes नहीं होनी चाहिए. Spelling mistakes really give a bad impression. Because अगर आपने spellings गलत, it may be the spelling of even my own customer, it's going to leave a bad impression. So look for the correct spellings of the words. Also look for omissions, जो कि आपने, you should have put in the information there, and for some reason you fail to. One very good trick while you are proofreading is that proofread your document twice. The first time for grammatic mistakes, आपने कहीं figures गलत दी हैं, इन चीज़ों के लिए आप देखें. When you proofread for the second time, proofread for the context. उसमें ये ना देखें कि spelling कहाँ है, नाम ठीक है कि नहीं. This you've already done. But then overall context के लिए आप उसे proofread करें कि क्या ये जो मैसेज मैंने लिखा है contextually ये मैसेज ठीक है कि नहीं, सीक्वेंस ठीक है, मटेरियल रेलेवेंट है, वगैरह वगैरह. पहले में आपने ग्रामेटिक मिस्टेक्स देखी हैं, कॉमा देखा है, फुल स्टॉप देखा है, पैराग्राफ की this is a very good tip when you are proofreading before you sign the document. Proofreading में the second last part before you before you sign the document is, आपने देखना है कि proper sequencing जो आपने material डाला है उसकी है कि नहीं. Maybe you would like to alter the sequence of putting in the information और जो supporting आपने उसके अंदर explanations दी हैं, you would like to change that sequence. So that is what you really have to look while you are doing the proofreading. And finally, you have to overall look in for the correct format. क्या आपके मैसेज का फॉर्मेट ठीक है कि नहीं? रिमेंबर, मैंने बहुत शुरू में इस बात पे एम्फेसिस दिया था कि मैसेज when it comes in front of you, the outward appearance, just like my external non-verbal cues, same way मैसेज का फॉर्मेट, इंडेंटिंग, पैराग्राफ, ये तो नहीं कि किसी पैराग्राफ में आपने डबल स्पेस दे दिए, किसी में सिंगल स्पेस दे दिए. My next lecture is going to be exactly on these little small things, although you would say that you might be knowing, but I'm going to spend some time on it. It really matters that आप साइन कहाँ कर रहे हैं, स्पेस कितनी है, आपने पैराग्राफ्स को कैसे फॉर्मेट किया है. This is very important. And finally, when you proofread, you must not miss anything which mars the effect of the format of your message. Aaj, finally, when I say proofread, your message is ready, your document is ready for signature and final dispatch to your reader. अभी तक जितनी मैंने आपसे इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर की, जितनी आपको इंफॉर्मेशन मैंने आपको दी, I gave with this very intention that now we are going to go for final messages. I will show you examples. I will tell you how to write reports. I'll tell you how to write direct request letters, good letters, disappointing letters. But today we have summed up, we have finally concluded the early part, which I said to you consumes 2/3 of your time. That is, आपने planning भी की है, organizing की है, 2/3, and 1/3 for the writing which you did by opening, closing, and the body composition. I hope now you are ready for looking at the examples and then learning more techniques, how to write good letters, disappointing letters. I'm sure you are going